Hey everybody, bunch to cover today for Rocket League news. Veloce seems to be trying out a different combination of players with Archie. Antoine Griezmann's esports organization expresses interest in having a Rocket League team. And day 3 coverage for Fusion. We have lots to cover, so let's get started. Previously in the Fusion qualifiers, Freaky was the one that was trying out with a different team, but this time around, it looks like Cassio is the one on the bench, while Flame and Freaky are playing with Archie. All I know is that they're trying to give a equal footing to each of the players, and one of the big positives is I think Archie is actually a very good player. Equal footing and very similar playstyle to Mist. I feel he's one of those players that can be an addition to any roster that may help improve it. You can plug him into just about any position. His slow, methodical playstyle or mechanics up on offense are going to create opportunities, so glad to see them giving him a proper shot. Grizzly Esport, a French-based organization started by Barcelona star Antoine Griezmann and his brother, have expressed interest in quote-unquote finding animals in Rocket League. Don't know if that is the proper translation or not, but that's what Google gave me, so we'll figure it out. Grizzly Esport was founded back in 2020, very early on in January, with teams in Fortnite, League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, FIFA, and CSGO. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen something about Grizzly Esport for Rocket League. There was a post about 4 months ago on Reddit saying that they were looking to pick up a team as well. I'll link the clip, but it's in French because it is on French television. But from what I could find, he says that they didn't try to recruit a Rocket League team, but there was interest from a team that sent them mail in regards to being picked up. They did say that the team was incredible, so it's good to see that there is interest back in January when the org was originally founded, but it's now coming full circle as they are expressing interest in the public eye. Also, another rumor speculating about Affinity being picked up by Alpine Esports. Reddit user shares his speculation, and some of it sounds pretty convincing. Affinity have been hinting online that they have been assigned by an organization, and in those posts they link a pine cone emoji. Some of their profile pictures on Steam have also been pine cones, and they also have the same color scheme as the Alpine Esports branding on Twitter. All 3 players are also following the esports organization. Also, according to their Instagram, Alpine was recently acquired by an entrepreneur who is the CEO of Wisdom Gaming Group. If you guys are unaware, with Wisdom Gaming Group, that is actually where Gillyweed left and went to, as they have been producing a bunch of Valorant content. Reddit user also confirms that yes, it may be a little far-fetched, but I appreciate the effort going into the idea. Curious to hear what you guys think about it. Drop comments down below if you think this is a plausible signing for Affinity. Jumping ship over to Fusion, we had day 3 underway, and the first match for 3v3 was Space Station versus Divine. It was a very rough start from Space Station Gaming, looking like they were having almost too much fun. They let in a lot of goals, but in the end, Space Station ended up coming out on top. Myself and LeafX casted this one again, and we'll be casting all the 3v3 matches. But pretty interesting in how this one played out. Space Station was a little bit slow off the gun, let in a lot of kickoff goals, but when things were on, they looked incredible, and they further expressed how I feel about them. Good on offense and defense, and as most players agree, if you give Sipico the ball, you're going to lose. 2 OTs, very similar in time, but one of them did end up going to Divine. Some memorable moments, such as this flip reset from Sipico.
Do that. It might open up some of these pass plays in more of the midfield, because you have to respect every single player on this team as they send the house, and it goes off the backboard.
Bouncing ball situation as it flies all over in Sipico. Nails went home at an incredible angle. You talk about the solo plays, the double tap flip reset. Bang, she's home. And with 25 seconds left, SSG point.
And things like a Rule 2 bumper-to-bumper headlock with Arsenal to actually remove him from the game and give Divine the win in game number 3. Space Station is still one of 3 teams that is still available in all 3 brackets, 3v3, 2v2, and 1v1, but rough for Divine, man. Both of their losses in the 3v3 and the 2v2 for the elimination came from Space Station Gaming. With the way that Space Station is performing, you can expect to see them probably in the grand finals, as well as very high up in the standings when it comes to the congregate of all 3 game modes. Shout out to defense from Dino, as he had a lot of clutch slaves, and J-Ross doing whatever he could to find some offense between slowing the play down and going for some shots, boosting eyes, demos, whatever he could. On to the 2v2, Vision versus 72 pin connector. And I was actually surprised to see that Jacob was playing instead of Demo. A lot of people criticized me when I was commentating about Demo. Demo Cat was his original name and has been for a very long time, but back in January, late like on January 25th, he does prefer to be called just by Demo, so we're going to stick with that for Dakota. As the series progressed, it looked like Vision was going to take a clean sweep over 72 pin connector, but then they started to really put up a fight. A lot of it on the back of Jacob. His involvement was really important, and It was kind of an interesting blend between the playstyles. Lions Blaze, who plays very aggressive and in their face and a very ones-oriented player, while Jacob takes more of a aggressive offensive approach, was playing a bit more passive. Eventually, these playstyles started to meld together, and they put up a pretty valiant fight in games 4 and 5, but eventually got to game 6, and even though it was a one-game differential, Vision controlled the majority of the game. Rodoko and Kinsei do a really good job finding each other with passes in the midfield and dishing it to each other. It just seems to be that the playstyle is more intrinsic to what Twos is supposed to be, which is very aggressive in your face, but also working in the midfield when provided space. The constant pressure that they apply opens up opportunities in that midfield, and they punish greatly. Now, the one that I told you guys about yesterday that I was looking forward to the most, we got to see a 1v1 versus Rattles and Magic Bear, and boy oh boy did it not disappoint. Now, I know the scoreline says 4-1, but massive credit to Rattles for the fight that he put up in this series. Rattles, as a player, does some very special things in ones. I think my favorite thing about this is it basically further progressed what I was excited to see in Alpha Cap's 1v1 against Lion Blaze. Magic Bear is also a player that plays really fast and really aggressive, but the exciting thing is Reynolds was able to keep up with it in his own style. Because the score deficit was never too large, he was able to play it a little bit slower and a little bit more methodical and try to punish things that we didn't get to see someone like Alpha Cap do. Alpha Cap ended up stopping in my stream and talking a lot about this, and actually brought up the fact that, yeah, he's totally in agreement that he needs to go for more power shots and ways to kind of further articulate and further advance his own play style. One of the major things we talked about was the ability to actually go into detail about how to create pressure with a 1v1 by slowing it down and putting on an initial shot that, even though you know it's not going to go in, it still allows you to deny a boost and kind of feed the ball to where you want by forcing the defender to make a save. We get to see a lot of that from Reynolds, and even more so is after he started losing in game 3, he switched to a Batmobile, which is going to further exploit the fact that, yes, he may be playing slower, which is pretty common from Batmobile 1v1 players, the ability to put more power on his shots and a little bit more height on his flicks. Again, in 1v1s, if you guys watch them frequently, you should know that goal differential is a big thing, but to be within 2 to 3 in every single game proves how close Rattles play this, despite Magic Bear, in my opinion, being one of the favorites. Rogue and Space Station are up tomorrow, and I assume that First Killer is going to win, which means it'd be First Killer versus Magic Bear, and I am so pumped for that match. Either way, Magic Bear, you continue to impress me. There are certain things you did. I'm going to show you guys some of the highlights that he had.
Enough for Magic Bear to worry. As Magic Bear attempts to go low. And Rattles just about spots it in time. It was a slow creeping play.
Oh, wow.
Here's Magic Bear, though. This will be much more pronounced.
What? Magic Bear from the halfway line. He'd got the air dribble started after the ball bounced off the ceiling into the reset, into the top corner. Shot. I mean,
and schedule for tomorrow is pretty easy to figure out. Again, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's just the match that hasn't been played yet in the quarterfinals. In 3v3, it's going to be Team Envy versus Vision. Pretty easy nod to Envy in that one. I have big expectations that we get to see the rivalry that I have been hyping up all offseason long. Envy versus Rogue, I really need to see that match. 2v2, it's going to be Stromboli versus Affinity. And in the 1v1s, we've got Rogue versus Space Station. I think this is going to be the one that Space Station is actually not the favorite in. I have a pretty good feeling that First Killer is going to be playing for Rogue. And for Space Station, we might see some mix-up, but my nods to Arsenal. That wraps it up for the Rocket League news for today. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure you drop those down below, and I will do my best to get back to them in a timely fashion. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss out on any of the daily uploads for the news that has been coming out. Again, if you guys have made it this far, I want to say thank you, and I appreciate the support. But that is going to do it for us. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Peace.